The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
Welcome to Condo Craze and HOAs on a Sunday morning. I'm Karen Curtis, attorney Eric Glazer.
Glad to be back. Feels like we've been out forever.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Is Hanukkah still going?
No.
Oh, it's over.
No.
It's 10 days.
Eight nights, not 80 nights. Yeah.
It's not 40 days in the desert or anything. Okay. Anyway, welcome. And we are glad to be back on Sunday mornings. And also, we would like to thank our fantastic sponsors. They truly offer the best services in South Florida, including our diamond sponsor, Best Roofing. And I'm here again with Eric Glazer, who's board certified by the Florida Bar in Condominium and Plan Development Law. He has a law firm, Glazer and Sachs, right here in Hollywood and in Orlando. And Tampa's going nuts over you now.
Going nuts. A lot of work in Tampa.
And you're on Tampa's News.
Tampa's News this morning, as a matter of fact.
This morning?
Yes, correct.
So what channel? Channel 8?
ABC. Whatever ABC is up there.
Tampa.
I think it's 8. I think you're right.
News Channel 8. That's the number one station up there, by the way. Anyway, you can check that out. Also, we're here each week to answer all your calls and emails about the issues that make life in your condominium or HOA absolutely crazy from one minute to the next. I see you've met Cynthia. Violation.
Right.
We can love to get the phone lines going early, and you can also ask us a question in the YouTube chat as well, answering all your condo and HOA questions, no matter where you're on the state. The SIRS thing, SIRS.
Yes.
It's time to get that in.
By the way, there's another commercial now that makes fun of HOA violations, and it's with Ted Danson. Did you see it?
Yeah.
He's painting violation, something like that.
Oh, Ted Danson.
Ted
Oh,
Danson.
fantastic.
Funny.
So you can give us a call here in the studio as well. The number is 717-GLAZER-8 with a Z, and that translates to 717-452-9378. And you can also visit us on the Condo Craze and HOA's website.
Yes, you can.
And he does a blog and blah, blah, blah. He'll tell you all about that and ask a question in the chat box.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. And don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, the Condo Craze and HOA's channel on YouTube, which you should be watching right now. By subscribing to the channel, you don't get to just watch the show live. You can watch any of our previous shows. We're closing in on 100,000 hits, and we said when we're going to do that, we're going to pop that bottle of champagne that Robert brought us. So could be any show now. And of course, don't forget to join our email list at condocrazeandhoas.com. By doing so, you get announcements about the show, announcements about new legislation, announcements about when our seminars are, and a lot more. As Karen said, we do a blog every single Monday morning at hoa-condoblog.com. Tomorrow's topic, update on the Corporate Transparency Act, and that's certainly something we're going to talk about this morning. So first of all, as Karen said, I just want to wish all of you, all three of us, wish you a very happy and healthy new year to you and all of your families. And we look forward to another year of doing this show. We really do.
Big time.
We're going to certainly educate you about what's going on throughout the year.
And that'll be in February and March. You're going to start?
The seminars, we'll talk about it in a little while.
Okay.
Yeah. And not only are we going to educate you, I think we try to have some fun along the way, right? I think that's what it's all about. You got to remember to put some fun in our lives. It's not just about stress, right? Even though there's a lot of serious stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
And like I said, there is some serious stuff to talk about today.
Big time.
We're in a brand new world.
Yeah, big time. And it all starts with the deadline to complete your structural integrity reserve study. That's the SIRS study.
Yes.
And commonly known as SIRS.
Yes,
you hear us talking about that. That's because when Champlain Towers collapsed, the lawmakers, the legislature came in and said, we need to put some guardrails and safety guardrails on for especially condos near the water that are old.
Yes, 3 stories or more. And let me tell you, did they ever? So let's focus on for a second what happened as a result of it now being January 1st, 2025. Okay, we got to go over a few things because quite frankly, they are vital. So let's talk about what the statute says. Number one, for a budget adopted after December 31st, 2024. So we are obviously now after December 31st, 2024. The members of a unit-controlled association that must do this structural integrity reserve study cannot determine to provide no reserves or less than the reserves required by their structural integrity reserve study. So that's it. When you do your structural reserve study, no more waiving reserves going forward.
No
Think
more
about
kicking
that.
the can
No
down
more
the
kicking down the
road.
right.
That was the problem. That's what you said on 60 Minutes when the building fell.
Bill
It was
came
because
due,
the
and
bill came due.
Right, and they kept kicking the can down the road. So just think about that. Forever now in the state of Florida, any budget that gets passed by any condominium board cannot waive structural reserves. Big difference from where we were the last 50 years.
Right.
Major difference. That already kicked in. Let's talk about what else kicked in.
Okay.
Associations existing on July 1st, 22, that passed a long time ago, which are controlled by unit owners other than the developer, you have to have that structural integrity reserve study done by December 31st, 2024. Did that pass? Yes, it did.
Oh.
If you didn't do your structural reserve integrity study and you're a building 3 stories or more, you are already in violation of Florida law.
It's my understanding that there's hundreds of condos that have not.
And they are already in violation
So what
of
happens
Florida
to
law.
them?
Their unit owners can take them to pre-suit mediation. We don't
Oh,
know.
so it's illegal.
Oh, there's no question that it's illegal
Civilly
at the moment. Yes,
illegal,
yeah, and
not criminally.
And can a court enforce them to do it? No question in my mind. A
Okay.
court can force them to do it.
Don't go DBPR. You're going to go right to
DBPR, as we're going to know in about a minute, they're going to want to know who's doing it as well, and not just the DBPR. Let's keep going.
Do you have to like file paperwork that you've done?
Yes,
Okay.
you do.
All right, good.
Okay.
Sorry.
What else? Number 3. Now, for a budget adopted after December 31st, 2024, right? A
Right.
budget adopted from now going forward. Members of the association that must obtain the SIRS study may not vote to use the reserve funds for anything else. That's the bottom line. So in other words, you can't vote to use the reserve funds to buy lounge chairs, even if everybody in the community voted for it. That's it. The money in the SIRS reserve account, it's staying for the SIRS reserve. We're
Okay,
not going to let
that's
you
it.
take any money out of there. You can
It's
see
like
the
a line
seriousness.
item.
That's it. It's in there. It's not coming out. Okay? We used to let you monkey around with some of the reserves, right? If you wanted to use it for something else, the unit owners can vote for it.
Right.
No more.
Okay.
That's done.
Because this is safety. You
This
don't
is
want to
safety.
monkey around
That's
with
it.
safety, right?
Finally, after December 31st, you wanted to know how this is going to work, who's going to know about this. The division, right? The division of condominiums must include a list of the associations that have completed the structural integrity reserve study. And look who it has to go to. The governor, the president of the Senate, the speaker of the House of Representatives, and the chairs of the Legislative Appropriations Committee. Bottom line, Big Brother is watching.
Wow. Okay,
And
so
unit owners who don't do, member associations who don't do it, again, they can
Wow.
also be taken to pre-suit mediation by any of their unit owners. An agreement would have to be reached there to do it, obviously.
you needed to have
and then
already
it's
done that.
enforceable. Yes, yeah. This is
governor, president of the Senate, speaker of the House. This would be helpful to have an attorney.
so they know. So the
Right?
government needs to know how many people did it, how many people didn't do it. You know, where are we at now in the state of Florida?
So if they don't send it in, how do they know?
Well, the division's going to send it in, right? Because the division knows. But the
there's-
division may say, hey, there's hundreds of
Oh my
associations
God.
that didn't answer.
Thousands of
Right.
associations. I mean,
But
half the
again,
state lives in a condo.
Any one of those associations, a unit owner can come forward and say, why didn't you do
Okay.
this? Right? Take them to pre-suit arbitration, right? At that arbitration, there'd have to be an agreement for the association to do it. What else can they agree to? Right? And if they don't do it, a judge can force them to do it.
I think Robert should come up with, compile a list for the governor of all the condos that are,
That are in violation,
that are,
that are good people.
no, all the
What do you
condos,
want?
all the condos that need to be taking care of this.
Yes.
You're not in violation, but all the condo, like a list of them, because I don't think they have it.
You might. There's got to be a list somewhere. Any condo 3 stories or taller is what you're saying.
Right.
How many? Which of them complied? Which of them didn't?
Well, just have a list of all of them that
Yeah.
need to comply,
Yeah.
and see how many of them have.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be some information
gotta be
on that in the
cross-checking.
division at this point.
I
Absolutely.
mean, how many condos are there that have to comply?
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
I'm wondering
And
if
then the
that list
question
exists,
becomes-
Robert.
Yeah, and then the question becomes, well, did we have enough architects and engineers to do
That's
this in
right.
the first place?
That could
So
be their argument.
There's
Wow,
a
I
lot
couldn't get
to
it.
talk about. Should we have brought in architects or engineers maybe from Georgia who could have helped us with this? That might be something we need to talk about as well. Just like after a hurricane,
Yeah.
right? You see people coming in with help,
Right.
like from different states to help us do our electrical and stuff. Maybe that should have been the case here.
So if they can't get an architect in time can they say, look, we've got one on reserve for
You
2027?
better show that you're at least under contract, because you
Okay.
had a long time
Yes.
to know that you had to complete this by December 31st, 2024. Right? When did these laws pass? A year and a half ago?
Well, no, the last one just passed. Oh, no, that was
This
for
law about
education.
becoming compliant by December 31st, 2024, that passed a long time ago.
Okay.
So you had a year and a half, 2 years to get your act in order and know that by December 31st, you had to have your SIRS done. And people waited and waited, and we spoke about this on the show many times. Hey, get your act together, by December 31st, 2024, right? How many times did we say, and if you wait for the last minute, you're not going to be able to get an architect or engineer? So there's a lot of people that did just that. They're probably the same people that waived reserves
Yeah.
forever, right?
Yeah.
So now they have a problem, let them deal with their building official and, beg for an extension, I guess. But if that's not enough, okay, let's talk about a topic that so many of our listeners, so many of my clients have had trouble with, and I can't tell you how many calls and emails I received about whether condo associations and HOAs have to comply, right, with a federal statute called the Corporate Transparency Act, and that requires companies to submit beneficial ownership information to something called FinCEN. And what's FinCEN? The United States Department of the Treasury Bureau that works to detect and prosecute financial crimes,
Holy
including
smokes.
money laundering
Oh my God.
and terrorist financing. Okay, so that's what the government is looking into. But where are they looking? At condos and
Okay,
HOAs.
so this is requiring boards to file a form with personal information about everybody on the board, right?
Including
Like
like
a
your
dossier?
driver's
Your
license
dossier?
information. Yeah, and it was making a lot of people on the board very uncomfortable giving out this information about themselves. They're like,
Right.
wait a minute. I volunteer for a board. Here I am. I'm putting in my hours.
Not paying
now,
me.
Not paying me. And now the government
Now I'm
wants
on the
to
radar.
know. Right. And the government wants to know all this personal information about me. Give me a freaking break.
So do they have to do it?
Well, let's talk about the process of this case through the system,
I thought they were
because
supposed
you
to be
won't believe
exempt.
it. That's the question. Were these condos and HOAs supposed to be exempt? And there's a whole list of different types of corporations, LLCs,
no
and
one's
stuff.
laundering money in a condo or an
501c
HOA.
Right, that's what you would think, right? No one's laundering
just
money.
stealing the
there.
money.
You're right, but they're not laundering it. That's correct. But you would think that condos and HOAs would be exempt.
How could you launder money through a condo?
I can't figure it out either. Very different. I guess you could do anything, but the bottom line is, to me, it was clear that condos and HOAs should have been exempt from this,
Okay.
clearly. But there was, again, no specific exclusion for them. So here's where we are at the moment. And hang on to your hat, because this is confusing even for attorneys, I promise you, okay? So there was a case filed in a federal court in Alabama that declared this entire act, okay, the whole Corporate Transparency Act, unconstitutional. It went too far, asking for your personal information. That case was appealed by the government to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Why is that important? Florida is in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, so it would have been great if we had a decision ready, but no decision yet.
When are you expecting it?
Who knows? Probably soon, but so far we don't have it.
And you're thinking it'll go in favor of not
I
having.
think it will, but we don't know. We can sit here and guess. But in the meantime, we have this other case.
In Texas,
yes,
right?
another case out of Texas. And that Texas case got a lot of attention. Let's talk about that. So we got the Fifth Circuit case over here that originally came out of Alabama.
Which will affect us.
Right. And now we got this Texas case. And the name of this Texas case, a long name. It's called Texas Top Cop Shop versus Merrick Garland, U.S. Attorney General, Treasury Department, the Director of FinCEN, Andrea Gacki, the Director of the Federal Crimes Enforcement Network, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Treasury, and it was filed in the Eastern District of Texas. Everybody's getting sued.
Good.
I'm happy to see a lot of those people sued.
I know,
to tell
right?
you the truth, right?
Gosh.
Okay. And in that case, on December 3rd, 2024, the district court in that case entered a nationwide injunction enjoining enforcement of the Corporate
You
Transparency
should have
Act.
started with that.
Right? And so far, sounds great.
Right.
However, the government then requested a stay of that mandatory preliminary nationwide injunction, and the district court agreed.
Oh, Lord.
No more stay, right? Wait. The government appealed, and the court granted the government's emergency motion for a stay pending appeal. The court then reconsidered and said, okay, in order to preserve the constitutional status quo, the nationwide injunction is back in effect right now.
So
as
you said
we
the
speak.
government appealed. You mean
The
Texas
Texas
appealed?
correct.
Okay. Okay.
Correct.
Texas
Until
appealed.
The
And
Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals now, it is everything's on hold until they decide the
Okay.
case, or maybe the 11th Circuit decides the case. But we're going to need an opinion from a Circuit Court of Appeals case
Okay.
to figure this out.
So it's injunctions.
Right
It's
now,
like
there's
right
a
now.
temporary injunction
Don't worry about
in
it.
place, and condos and HOAs, for the moment, you do not have to apply. Let me comply with it, I should say. We're asked every day.
Yeah,
Every
okay,
day
you
I get
don't have
emails.
to.
For now, you do not have to comply with the Corporate Transparency
Who did
Act.
Alabama sue? Just Merrick Garland?
I don't know who the defendants were, but I would assume probably some of the same
everybody.
defendants.
That's great.
Yeah, it is good news for now.
Okay, so don't worry about it.
Right. But the question is, what about everybody that was so eager to comply with the government demands?
Oh, yeah, and they've got their info now.
And now the government has their info. What can you do? And the bottom line was, all you do was you wasted some time, you wasted a fee, and what can I tell you? There's no getting it back.
So
Once
what's
you
the
file-
moral of this story?
Wait,
Don't-
relax. I was telling when that Alabama
But
case.
not if it's a SIRS study.
Correct. Two different things.
Yeah.
There. I will tell you, and everybody can look. When that Alabama decision came down, I told all my clients, relax. This is going to be a long time before this is sorted out. Don't comply. Relax. Take it easy. Deep breath. And then the 11th Circuit case happened, and then the Fifth Circuit Court case happened. So there's a mess right now. It could be sorted out really fast. Could be sorted out certainly before the end of the month, and that could happen. But even if it does,
End of the month,
you'll
okay.
still be given some time to comply.
I'm just
So
wondering,
relax.
for money laundering, now that you have the SIRS and you have to fund it and there's millions and millions
Is
of
that
dollars.
possible?
I'm
Sure.
wondering if you could put laundered money through
And
all that
that's
money.
the reason why a lot of people
a lot of
were
money.
against having to fund these reserve accounts
Yeah.
because they're not in favor of having a board in control of
That
all
much money.
this money. Right. The building's got to be fixed.
I mean, who's
What can
going to
I
know
say?
if you put a couple other million in there? You know what I'm saying?
And who's going to know if you took it out?
And you took it out,
Right.
you laundered it.
And we'll give it to your brother-in-law to
I'm
fix
not
the
giving
property.
you any
right?
ideas.
Could this happen? Anything could happen. But like we say all the time, there are corrupt board members.
Yeah.
There are corrupt attorneys. There are corrupt doctors. There's corruption in every profession. Not necessarily more in the condo and HOA world. Okay. But for those that are watching out there, is that a busy start for 2025?
So don't worry about the condo
For Corporate Transparency
Corporate
Act.
Transparency Act.
Relax.
Worry about the SIRS.
Worry about the SIRS. That's
Now,
the moral
the
lesson
SIRS,
for
though,
today.
there's some condos that don't have to fund it till 2026.
If you voted, good point. If you voted to waive the SIRS before December 31st, 2024.
Okay.
If you didn't do that, too late.
Okay, so if you voted to waive it, you're good another year.
Right, you're good another year. But you had to do that before December 31st, 2024.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
But that would be that if you couldn't get an architect or something, let's waive it.
Yes, correct.
But if you didn't do it,
but if you didn't do it, you're paying it now.
I would think though that the government would say, look, we're going to give you a window of time to
Not now. There's no windows, you know, and that was the topic of the conversation this morning in Tampa. Everybody's saying the government's going to bail you out. We've said it on this show time and again.
No, yeah,
It's not
they have no
happening.
appetite.
The government has no appetite for bailing anybody out. This is happening, everybody.
But that
So
seems like a
get used to it.
procedural thing. If you didn't vote to waive it,
You didn't follow the procedure. Sorry, it's on you.
but
Yep, it's on you.
and then what's the consequence?
The consequence is you better get a lot more money from your unit owners starting now to fund those reserves. Or again, unit owner can take you to arbitration, to mediation, and then court.
And then if you lose the case,
Yeah,
not only have to pay for the reserves,
Right, you're paying
and
the
get
other
the serious-
person's
you
attorney's
gotta
fees
pay
and
the attorney's
costs.
fees.
Correct,
which is everyone in the condo's paying.
correct. Except the person who sued.
Oh,
Okay, there's a lot going on here. Just a lot to start
very confusing.
off the year. And it's probably only going to get more complicated as the year goes on. So you're going to have to watch, like it or not. Okay, so let's hear what our viewers think. Give us a call here in the studio, 717-452-9378. Again, 717-452-9378. Or drop us a question in the chat box on the YouTube channel. We will be back right after this.
There are very large management companies and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Karen Curtis, attorney Eric Glazer. He's the one that's board certified in community association law. Give us a call. There's lots of people already hanging on there. 717 Glazer 8. It's toll free. That's 717-452-9378. And you are going to be busy in February with your classes,
Yes,
which are mandatory
well,
now.
there's one more requirement that we left out, right? You know, we spoke about the SIRS, we spoke about the Corporate Transparency Act. What we didn't talk about was mandatory education, and that's my baby. I am so proud I got that done.
What's your legacy?
Oh, I love it. Very
you invented
happy.
it,
Very,
and now it's mandatory.
Very happy. So here we are. We're really now in the middle of election season. And remember, if you don't get certified now by taking a mandatory educational class within 90 days of getting on the board, you are off the board. God, that feels good, right?
Yeah,
I'm so happy to have said that. So we have a plethora of courses now lined up. They're all free, right? They're all taught at the L&L Condo and HOA Expo. And I'm going to say
By
this.
you.
Yeah, I want to say this, though. I get a lot of emails every day that says, Eric, hey, when are you doing your next online one? And here's my answer. I'm not doing an online one. Why? Because I don't think that it lends any credibility to the course.
Now, one-on-one,
Right.
people love to be with
what
you and
but
ask you
also
first
what
question.
you hear is people walked away from the screen for 3 hours, and it's very
And that's
difficult.
the DBPR online
Yeah, the
one.
DBPR one, you can walk away from the screen, and I take pride in what I do. And if you're not going to be there, then I don't want to teach it to you. That's how I feel. I think this class needs to be taught in person. So all these classes will be taught in person. Start us off.
Okay, February 11th at the L&L Condo and HOA Expo in Palm Beach County at the Convention Center.
Yeah, now all of these start at 8 a.m. sharp.
8
Okay?
a.m.
And again, it's mandatory that it's a 4-hour class. So you're getting out at lunch. The good part is lunch is provided for free.
course.
Okay? So as Karen said, February 11th, L&L Condo and HOA Expo, Palm Beach Convention Center. 2 days later, the L&L Condo and HOA Expo at the Tampa Bay Convention Center. People are freaking
Who loves
fantastic.
you?
Fantastic.
Tampa.
Tampa's awesome. Tampa's awesome.
February 18th, I think I will be at this one. It's at 8 in the morning, though.
Yes,
is
it
it a
is.
weekday? These
Weekday,
are all
sure it
weekday.
is,
Well, I
yes.
won't be able to. L&L Condo and HOA Expo in Broward at the Convention Center.
Then we skip about a month and a half. April 3rd, the L&L Condo and HOA Expo at the Broward Convention Center again.
Yeah. April 16th. Oh, you should have filed your taxes by then. L&L Condo and HOA Expo, Tampa Bay Convention Center.
They want us
So you're
back.
doing it
Yep.
twice.
Twice in Tampa. April 22nd, the L&L Condo and HOA Expo at the Palm Beach Convention Center
And then you're
again.
in Orlando.
Yep, we end off in Orlando at May 14th. So we'll be in a bunch of different cities. If there ever was a year that this is important, it's now. Remember, of course, within 90 days of getting on the board, at least in a condo, you have to be on the board. In an HOA, it's confusing whether you do or you don't have to be on the board within 90 days. Bottom line is, why don't you get on the board, take the course, within 90 days of getting on the board?
You have
Nothing to
residents
lose.
taking the course. You have
Absolutely.
like everybody.
Yep.
So if you live in Miami-Dade, can you go to the Broward one?
You can, certainly you can, yeah. And it's unfortunate that every time we gave seminars in Miami-Dade, you would think that the county where the building collapsed, that would be the one where the director should go the most. And that's the one always with the least attendance. And you're like,
Really?
yeah, it was very disheartening, quite frankly. But we'll be back. We'll be back in Miami-Dade.
I'm not going to go. I'm going to have a sandwich.
Yeah, it's pretty, to be honest, I don't mean to pick on Miami-Dade. I'm just telling you
Well, no,
facts.
that's the fact.
Yeah, I'm just telling you facts.
And what you teach is, lots of topics. Includes the new safety inspection, reserve funding, SIRS, importance of the time-to-time
Yep.
language, and also, which is, I get them mixed up.
Yeah.
Kaufman, May, and
Kaufman
Shelley.
language, yeah,
That is
yeah,
Kaufman.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Official records, financial reports, different types of documents that govern your community, collections, manager responsibilities, a lot more. Food is served. He'll be there.
And at least in a condo
Free.
now, it's mandatory. In an HOA, at some point, it will be mandatory, or the statute will be clarified this
Okay.
year. I drafted the legislation for that already, by the way, to make it mandatory within 90 days of an HOA board member getting on. It actually says that, but it doesn't talk about what happens with the board members who are already on the board when the statute was passed. It kind of just leaves that out there.
Oh, for
In
HOA.
condos,
Oh,
if
no.
you've already been on the board on last July 1st, you have until June 30th. It doesn't say that when it comes to HOAs. So there's confusion about what happened if you were already on the
And
board.
if they already took your course before the law passed, does that count?
I want them to take it again
Okay.
because there's even new requirements that they want us
Oh,
to teach.
okay.
Take the class. Bottom line, stop crying about it, okay? We'll see you there. Robert, how about a first call?
Yeah, you also offer private Zoom classes too, right?
Yes, we can. If a condo, and that happens too, sometimes a condo or an HOA doesn't want
Much
to
more
sit in a crowd
personalized.
with hundreds of people,
Right.
so they ask us to come and teach it to their association specifically, and we can do that. Just give us a call, okay?
All right.
Who's our first call?
Let's see, let's go to, it looks like Melanie from Tampa.
Hey, Melanie.
Tampa.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you. How are you all? So here's my situation. I was on the board of a homeowners association for 10 years. We recently had an election, and I decided not to run, and the other board members didn't run either, so we have a whole new board. The new board is demanding that I turn over everything that I have for the last 10 years. The problem is I don't have a printer, so I don't have anything in hard copy. Most of what I do was on the phone, and some of it was email, but I did not save the emails. Once the issue was resolved, I would delete the emails. So I don't
Hey,
have
Hillary,
anything
wait
to
a minute.
give them.
This is Hillary Clinton on the
And
phone.
they're demanding that I give them. So what can they do
You
if I
need to-
don't have anything to give them? And the property manager announced at the election meeting, I wasn't there, but a friend was there, and she's told everyone it's a felony if I don't turn over what I have.
Well, you
on.
need to retain the
I don't know
emails.
what to do.
Hold on.
So
I'm not saying it's a felony. I'm not,
what can they do to me if I don't have anything, if I haven't saved anything?
I'm not saying it's a felony. Okay, so relax about that. I'm not saying it's criminal to do
Okay.
it. But I will say that the law does require you to turn these records over within 5 days of getting off the board.
And how long is she supposed to keep them, or any director?
Well, these records should now be turned over to the other members that are on the association, and any records that are at least 7 years, that are less than 7 years old, they have to keep.
So you should not have gotten rid of those emails.
Right, exactly.
I know, and they're gone. I didn't know this, and other board members before me we never had this. This is the first time they're ever
hold on.
asking for
Don't
it.
they have a
So,
condo
I don't have
jail?
anything to give them. So what can
Other than
can they charge me
emails-
with a felony, or what
wait,
can
wait.
they do to me?
Deep breath, slow down.
He said no.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I haven't slept for 2 weeks because I am
Okay.
so scared.
Okay,
I mean,
take it easy.
I
Take it easy. It's relax. It's probably not going to be in one of those jails that's maximum security anyway.
Yeah.
Minimum
You're gonna be
security
with P.
condo
Diddy,
jail, like you
P.
said.
Diddy and that.
Right. Yeah. So take it easy. But no, all kidding aside, take a deep breath.
No
but
condo
the
jail.
bottom line is, yes, you were required to turn over records within 5 days. Now, what records do you have other than emails that belong to the
She said
association?
she did by phone.
Did you scan in, let's say, insurance documents? Did you scan in policies?
See, that's the thing. I don't do it. What I do, because I don't have a printer. If I have to sign a contract, I send it over to Office Depot, and for 20 cents they print it out, and then I sign it, and then for 30 cents they scan it in, and then I'm done, and I don't have any hard copies of anything.
Well, Office
the
Depot
financials
would.
that
Right.
the property manager has everything, and I just assumed the property manager would have everything. And so I deleted all my emails, and I don't have anything to give them, and they're telling me I have to give. I don't know what to do.
Well, is there a way for you to get those emails back? You may need to call your company that
Yeah.
provides you with
provider.
internet service.
What about Office Depot scanned everything?
Or, if you're telling me, what did you do with the hard copies that the Office Depot gave you?
I don't have any hard copies.
Why not?
I have just because I didn't have any way to print them out. I don't have anything, like
Yeah, but did Office
if I had
Depot
the
give them
financials,
to
I would
you?
keep
Hold-
them
hold
for
on,
a month,
hold on.
and then I would throw them away the next month.
Why
I
would you
didn't- I
throw them
didn't
away?
save
You
anything
signed
because
a
I didn't
contract
know I
and
was
threw it away?
supposed to. I thought the property
Yeah.
manager would save everything.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do now?
If you get if these are records that the association can't get and they need them from you, then you're going to need to take every effort you can to get those records. As a matter of fact, the new statute makes clear that if the association is asked for those records, they can't just say, we don't have them. If it's a record that they're supposed to have on file, then they got to make every reasonable effort to get those records. And that may mean coming after you to get those records.
Don't you represent a condo
Well,
that had a judgment
Well,
against board
can't they
members that
get them
didn't
from the
produce?
property
Yes.
manager? If I don't have them, I don't know what to do. I mean, I use AOL. They're not going to help me with anything.
Well, yeah, they
and
might.
I just delete everything. So what do
hold
I
on.
Why?
do?
I don't understand
Hold
why
on.
you would have a contract that you signed and you'd throw the document away.
Yeah, I don't know
Never
why you
delete.
would delete those records
Huh?
either.
Never delete a public record.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
just-
I don't
the hard
keep any of that
copy.
stuff.
Yeah.
I just figured because the property manager has everything, so I just sign it, send it back through Office Depot, and I don't have
Well, then
any.
go to the
I don't
property
have a
manager
printer
if
here.
they
I don't
have
have any
everything.
hard copies
Then
of
you're
anything.
wrong.
Yeah, well, you may need to get them. So contact AOL and see how you can get
What about the property
your
manager?
deleted emails, because sometimes there are. Robert, you're the expert on that. Is there a way to do that? You know,
Contact AOL. See if they
I
can
don't
do
know
something
how
for
you would contact AOL. I mean, yeah, I just every
Support
time,
at
like when
AOL.com.
the new month comes, I delete the old financial.
okay, hold up,
Should she
hold
get
up,
an
hold up.
attorney?
Listen, it's sounding like you're not even willing to go to any extent to even give it a shot. So when someone talks to me like that, the hairs on my neck start to stand up, okay? I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but I don't like the conversation where it's headed. So I would go, like Robert said, to support, what is it, support.aol.com?
Yeah, I would go to the support site. Let's see, AOL support.
Would you,
Robert's helping you out here. He's going above and beyond.
would you suggest she get an attorney?
She may need an attorney, yes.
Yeah.
Because again, the HOA itself can't tell this person that wants the records, sorry, we don't have them. The HOA itself has to make an effort to get the records from her. So she better make an effort to get the records from whoever she can get it from. And if that means contacting AOL to see if she can get her deleted emails. And my guess is, Rob, I'm no computer expert, I bet you there's a way that she can get
Unless she
I bet
did you
you.
bleach
so.
bit them?
Yeah, right, right. Her
Did you use a hammer?
Her name is Hillary.
It is?
Remember that. That's the funny part about all this. It's actually hysterical.
Did she use a hammer?
But Hillary, we're going to have to move on to the next call. Again, you're going to need to contact support
Did you
at
find it?
AOL.
Yeah, it's help.aol.com.
Help.aol.com. I think you should start there and let us know how it turns out. How about we go to the next call, Rob?
They don't have a condo jail, but they have an HOA jail, I
That's true.
understand.
Isn't it funny if the next call comes from there?
The HOA jail.
I'm sorry, Eric. I only get one call. Hurry up. That would be great.
Let's go to
It's Hillary in HOA jail.
Right.
Jeffrey at Delray Beach.
Jeffrey, how are you? Jeffrey, you there? 3,
Oh,
2.
sorry.
Hello.
Oh,
How are you? Who do we got?
you turned it down because of Hillary.
Who's this, buddy?
Jeff.
This is Jeff Goldberg at Delray Beach, at Abbey Village at Delray Beach, Florida.
How are you, Jeff? How can we help?
I'm fine. So I have a number of questions that concern the new laws that were passed on HB 1021 July 1st this year. Well, actually last year now.
Yes.
Concerning email transmissions and the rights of unit owners to be able to receive the emails of their fellow owners.
Yes.
And so my first question is, we have a new management company for the last 2.5 years, and they've been sending out email transmissions of notification of meetings, of events, of things of interest, of all sorts of concerns. Does the fact that they're using electronic transmission to reach the unit owners imply that when they came on board, they received consent for receiving notices of electronic transmission?
No, not necessarily. No. They can simply just have the email addresses of people that did not necessarily file, in addition to that, notice to receive notices by consent. No, it could be just that they're sending out things by email without having that consent. Now, more importantly than that, I will tell you that I'm in possession of a case. There's a recent order that I've seen that says once that manager is included in these emails between the manager and the unit owners, any and all of these emails now are now public record. Anybody can see them. So if you make a records request for emails between the management company and the members of the board that are on the manager's the manager's email address, well, there seems to be a clear opinion now that those emails can now be seen by anybody in the condominium. So, a lot of work now has to be done potentially if the association is served with a request for those types of emails. A lot of work that the manager need to do.
You know who doesn't email?
Okay.
Donald Trump.
He doesn't, huh? No. That might be smart.
So,
Yeah.
So what's specifically happening is that the board announcing that they're transparent are making decisions that without expressing, the other side So I've taken on myself. I'm also a member of the board, and if they won't announce equally, fairly, both sides of an opinion, I've been writing articles, and I've requested, like in September, basically addresses and email addresses, and they came back and basically told me, but I think they were still quoting the original law, not the one in July, that people haven't consented to giving you emails, so we can't provide it to you. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering if the fact that they're using electronic transmissions gives me any rights to question why they didn't provide emails.
There's nothing that changed about that. They can't give you any emails other than those of people who consented to receive notice by email. That hasn't changed. So what the law did was basically make it clear that they shouldn't be using emails for their own benefits. So, for example, lots of board members were using the emails of people that they had on file to go campaigning, right?
You can't use an email to hold a meeting, though. You can't have a meeting.
You can have meetings by Zoom, let's say, but you can't vote by email.
But you can all sit at a table emailing each other, and that's not a meeting.
And that's not a meeting. That's the insanity of it all. Correct. But the new law basically says, hey, board members, you cannot use the email addresses of people that are on file if they haven't consented to receive notice by email just because you want to do electioneering. Okay, those emails are still private. And that law came into effect because of a complaint by people saying, hey, they have access to these emails, I don't.
Is something sent to the owner?
Yes, campaign election material.
Okay.
And other people are saying, I don't get access to that. That's an unfair advantage that they have.
But is there something sent that they can opt into the email?
Yes, correct.
Or not?
So if someone opts into the email, the gentleman on the phone would be allowed to get their email addresses and the people on the board.
Who sends this document?
Any unit owner who wants to.
I see.
Now, the problem is a lot of people didn't send that document.
I see.
The board had their email anyway. Board members were using all of it to do campaign election engineering. The gentleman on the phone can't get that email, right? And they were doing electioneering and he couldn't get it. So that's totally an unfair advantage for the people on the board. That's what the new law attempts to prevent, Jeff. That's the bottom line with that new law.
What I'm actually doing is I'm on the board solely to be able to get easy access to what's going on, but I basically I'm not looking to use it for election purposes. I write articles as to the decisions that the board makes and the pros and cons.
Right.
And originally the board was going to allow this to be published in their monthly newsletter, but because I brought up situations that sometimes shows the board didn't do the best they could do, they decided to deny access. So the board actually doesn't have access to the emails. It's the management company that apparently has it. And every request I've made to publish articles through the normal channels has been denied, including I spent 90 hours, 80 hours one year going through the budget and basically writing up an article explaining the budget and how that turned into a really expensive HOA this year.
Bottom line is you're allowed to do that. There's nothing wrong with you contacting all these people. It's a free world. You certainly can use your First Amendment rights to do that. However, the only emails that you're allowed to have access to are the emails of those people who consented to receive notice by email. And on that note, we got to take another break. Yes.
So, but in Hillary's case with the documents, someone's asking about incomplete websites. She had a duty to put all that stuff up on the website.
Yes, she did at some point. At least a lot of those documents. That's correct.
So that's a double whammy.
Well, we're assuming at the time she lived in a community of 150 more condos.
Okay.
We don't know, but she very well.
Oh no, she was an HOA.
Oh, she was an HOA, so forget it. But that doesn't quite get until 2026.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's another thing coming up. But let's do this. Let's take another break. Take in your calls, everybody. 717-452-9378, or drop us a question or comment in the chat box. Back right after this.
for mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkiss.com.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new by means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. Is this our final segment?
I don't know. Do we have
Where
another
are we?
break
What's
after this,
happening?
or are we done? One more. We have one more break.
Okay, we have one more break. Okay. Well, we started a little bit late, but yeah. Thanks for everyone that's watching. The hundreds of you that are out there, we appreciate it. I'm Karen Curtis. That's Eric Glazer. He's board certified in community association law.
Karen, I'm looking at the comments here.
That's
Some are so
hilarious.
funny. Guy by the name of B writes in and he said, I would rather live in my car with no condo fee than deal with all these stupid procedural rules. He might not be the only one that feels that way.
Yeah,
B,
true.
we may, as a result of some of these new laws, you might not be the only one living in your car, quite frankly. We don't know yet. Davey 2020 writes in, would the DBPR do anything about incomplete websites? Yes, I had a case about a year ago where a unit owner in the building ratted out to the DBPR that their association was not keeping up the website, and they were fined $5,000.
That's a condo.
Yes, at the condo.
Someone said that they've tried the DBPR and they haven't been very responsive.
Okay, so let's talk about the new legislation. Again, I watched an investigation or a public hearing in front of the Florida Senate, a committee of the Florida Senate, about all these people that came in and said the DBPR wasn't helping them, DBPR wasn't helping them. And in reverse, we had testimony that said, well, you didn't give them enough jurisdiction. Well, what do you think happened this year? The DBPR has jurisdiction to investigate everything. I mean, a whole bunch of jurisdiction now. They can't say anymore, we don't have jurisdiction, because they do. And as a matter of fact, there's even a line in the new statute that says if the DBPR believes there were any signs of criminal activity, for example, they must report it to the local criminal enforcement agency. So it changed. Things are totally different now for the DBPR. So I urge you, don't lose faith
They
yet.
have teeth.
They do. Now, that's what the Florida Senate was saying. Well, what do you want from them? We didn't give them teeth.
Right.
Now we gave them teeth. Okay? Rob, back to the phones.
Teeth in a day.
Yep.
Let's see. We have a next caller didn't leave a name.
Uh-oh.
Nameless, where are you?
Hello. No, I do have a name. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Karen. This is Julie from Hallandale.
Hey, Julie, how are you?
Hillary was hilarious. So what actually is horrendous is that she said she thought management keeps the record. She did not even bother to verify it.
Right.
So
Good
it's
point.
people like that who make the budgets fall and the towers fall. This is unbelievable.
Mhm.
So
Oh, wow.
your required education hopefully will take care of that.
Absolutely. I don't
So
like
my
when someone says, I gave them and I deleted everything. You
And
know,
I can't contact
Oh,
AOL.
that was beyond I don't even have the word for
Right.
it. Well, I do. I'm not going to say it on the air.
It doesn't make
Question
any sense.
relative to that. What responsibilities does the property manager have in record maintenance, and which Florida statute covers that?
so let's talk about the contract between the association and the management company. The statute requires the association to maintain these records. If you look at the statute itself, it's 718, 111, 12. Okay? That statute requires the association to maintain all these records. Now, an association hires a management company. The contract between the association and the management company delegates all those duties to maintain these records to who? To the management company.
But you still have the statute that's over you.
The statute makes the association responsible,
Yeah.
but the association puts that responsibility and delegates that duty to the management company.
So it's completely legally shifted.
Yes, but that doesn't mean if somebody puts a complaint in against the association, that's going to fall on the association.
Yeah.
The association can't say, well, it was the management company. The association can get hit with a fine and a penalty, and depending upon what the contract says, the association could say to the management company, we got hit with that penalty because of you.
Oh.
You're paying it. Okay?
Oh,
And you're going to explain to the DBPR what happened. You're going to explain your screw up. Okay? So,
but that's in a condo.
That's or an HOA.
Okay.
Right? No, you're right. The DBPR has no jurisdiction over an HOA complaint in that regard. You're right. That's exactly right. So that's how it works. There's a contractual duty by the management company owed to the association. I hope that answers your question, Julie.
Well, that was not my question. That was actually follow-up to the previous conversation.
To Hillary, yeah.
And another follow-up, again, the DBPR, when they fine the condo for incomplete website with a $5K fine, and then it is discovered that it's the property manager fault for dropping the ball, will the association be able to recover
That's
the
my
5K from the property?
That's what I was saying. Maybe you didn't hear what I was saying, but yes, if I'm representing the association, I'm going to turn around to the management company and say, hey, we got hit with that because of you. You're making it good.
But you don't want the management company to have complete control over the website, because what happens if you fire them and you have no way to get your website
There
back?
better be something in the contract that requires them to cooperate with you when you leave.
So you don't want to just you take it and
Lot to
then you're
know. That's
screwed.
why it aggravates me when I see an association that says, we signed this contract with the management company. Can you get us out of it? What's my answer, Karen?
No.
Right, no, I can't. Should have came to me
come
beforehand.
to me first.
Exactly. Who else we got, Rob?
All right. So my original question was regarding
it's still
ADA,
Julie.
if I may.
Yes.
What are those responsibilities regarding ADA in general, and how soon must association react to a specific request from a disabled person? Like if somebody has an epilepsy and is triggered by the new bright lights that were installed in common areas.
Okay,
that kind of thing.
so the American with Disabilities Act does not apply to residential condominiums.
Oh,
Okay, let
that's
me repeat
right.
that. The ADA does not apply to residential condominiums.
That's
The
why you don't have
Florida-
handicap parking.
Yep, the Florida Fair Housing Act does, the Federal Fair Housing Act does, but not the ADA unless
you
there
have
are some commercial units there.
You
Now,
have to do reasonable accommodation.
yes, you would have to ask for a reasonable accommodation under the Federal Act or the State Act for some reasonable accommodations. Can you use a different form of lighting? Can you give me a spot closer to the entrance because I can't walk?
Yeah.
Things like that. Can you allow me to have a pet because of, different things. I'm requesting a reasonable accommodation from certain restrictions in your association bylaws or declaration or rules because I have this physical disability and it would really help me use and enjoy the dwelling. That's what you're looking for if you live in a residential community, not the ADA. Okay?
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You got it, Julie. Thank you. Let's take our last break of the hour. 717-452-9378. Back right after this.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. Visit pd-concrete.com or call us today.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Final segment, Condo Craze and HOAs. We're going to go to the phones, right, Robert? What do we got?
Right, let's go to the phones. We have a lot of callers.
They're all over the map, right?
From Miami to Hollywood, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, Tampa, back to Miami and Hollywood and Orlando. So
fantastic, all over the state. All right, close your eyes and pick one.
All right, let's we'll go to the one waiting the longest, and this would be Richard in Miami Lakes.
All right.
Hey, Richard.
Wow, thanks guys for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure thing. How can we help?
Eric, I consulted with you some time ago regarding material changes in my condo. I've been fighting our board for some time now. They have been retaliating against me. They're using an attorney that starts with a B, sent me a letter or cease and desist. You're creating a hostile environment for us. So a lot of twists and turns since I first consulted with you on this topic. I'm sure you don't recall, but the point is that there's a re-roof going on. And the current buildings are roofed with clay tiles, and they're attempting to put a cement tile, which is a big material change. I've tried to go through different angles with the DPBR. I heard a lot of comments around frustrations with what DPBR is actually willing to participate in. But my question to you is, given my lack of success, they have pulled permits. Despite the pushback, they've pulled permits and are going to intend to start re-roofing with this material change product. What other possibilities do I have in terms of pushing back before the jobs start?
Well, it's now time to go to arbitration.
But how is that a material alteration if you go like from tile to tile?
It's not. This is going from tile to cement, which is an inferior product.
But it's a tile.
It's different. Okay. No, total different thing. Okay. Total different thing. The look is different. And that's the most important thing. If the look is different, you better get a vote. And this is my statute. I wrote this statute after I lost a crazy case in Dade County, which was overruled on appeal. So it's now time to put up or shut up, quite frankly. Now it's time to go to arbitration. And the winner gets their attorney's fees back as well and gets the injunction.
And you think he will be a winner?
By the way, I'm glad that you mentioned something about a vote, because they actually attempted, they need a 75% approval, and they attempted twice to get that 75% approval and failed.
Okay, so why would you attempt to get the 75% approval if you didn't think it was a material alteration?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, right.
Exactly.
Did they already sign a contract for this, though? Because then, now what?
Now what? Now they have to pay twice.
They signed the contract, pulled permits, and are about to begin the work.
Big
wow.
mistake if you win. If you win this, that's a gigantic mistake. But we will see. You know, that's up to you, buddy. Next step is to go to arbitration.
I will be in touch. Thank you so much
got
for
it.
your time, and thank you for the services that you provide to us, because really it's truly invaluable for people that live in condo communities.
It's the pleasure of all three of us. We're a team here, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's do this. Let's take the last call of the day. Who you going with, Rob?
Looks like Dulce from Hollywood.
Oh, Dulce.
Okay, Dulce from Hollywood.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hi. How are you? Thanks for taking my call. Quick question. Can the board of directors in a 2-story condominium require its association to begin a reserve account, or do we have to get the vote of the association to have a reserve account? Because currently our association has waived reserve each year, and I understand that the 2-story doesn't have to have it, but our board would like to have it. We think it's a good idea. We think SIRS is a good model.
So it's so complicated. It's so complicated. Okay. So because you are 2 stories, you don't have to do a structural integrity reserve study. Man, everybody listen close.
Wait, what county is she in?
I understand that. I understand that.
Height doesn't matter what reserves.
My question is we still want to save money for capital projects.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish this, okay?
Oh, it's square footage.
Here's what hasn't changed. Okay? For those buildings that are less than 3 stories, you still have to do reserves. Okay? You're still a condominium, you still have to do reserves. However, you're only required to do roof, pavement, and painting. Okay? Roof, pavement, and painting, and anything else that's supposed to cost $10,000. You're not required to do that whole reserve study stuff, that whole structural integrity reserve study stuff, but you're still required to do roof, pavement, and painting. However, you have the right to waive that as well. Man, it gets complicated.
Even in Miami-Dade, I thought.
Yeah, you're talking about inspections. Inspections are based on square footage. She's talking about reserves. You see how complicated this gets?
So no matter what, the height or anything,
reserves
you can waive
are always going to be
reserves.
there. But you can
If you're
waive
2 or less,
reserves if
okay.
you're under 3 stories.
Right.
And it's only for roof, pavement, and painting. That's the only thing she's required to do. But if you want to waive it, you can do that. Got it?
Actually, so as a board, our board does not want to waive any reserves. We have no reserves, and we would like to start saving for projects.
But it's not up to the board, is it?
Right,
Do we
that's
need the vote of the association to
Yes.
say, hey, we're going to start
Yes.
saving?
How many units are there?
20.
Okay. So when the board sends out the budget, okay, they have to show a budget with fully funded reserves. Fully funded reserves, and again, it has to include roof, pavement, painting, and anything else that's supposed to be $10,000 or more. When they send that out, if they want to, they can give the unit owners the opportunity to waive reserves. Now, you guys can waive reserves if you want to by getting a vote of 11 units. You would need a majority of all units now. Are you going to get the 11?
I wouldn't know. So your answer is that we have to, the board, we have to let the association vote on whether or not to waive
Right.
the reserves.
Now, are you saying you want reserves? I'm sorry, you're saying you want it?
Yes.
Okay. So when they
Yes. In
put
other
that...
words, does the board have the authority to say, we're going to start saving money?
No. When they send that budget out, okay, when they send it out, they must send it out with fully funded reserves. And if they don't get the vote of 11 unit owners in favor of waiving fully funded reserves, guess what? That budget must include fully funded reserves again for roof, pavement, and painting. Does that answer your question?
No, wait a minute. What?
Yes.
No.
I think they're thinking by
I'm
default
asking
you don't have to send.
Nope. I answered it right. I'm telling you. Everybody thinks she wants reserves, right?
Okay.
So that budget that goes in the mail, the board must send it out with fully funded reserves, right?
But they need 11 units.
So far, so good, right? And the only way there is no fully funded reserves is if the board gets 11 out of 20
to agree with
vote
them.
in favor of no reserves. It doesn't seem like they're going to get that based upon what I'm hearing. So when that budget gets sent out with fully funded reserves and they don't get the limited proxies to vote against it, they are required to pass a budget with fully funded reserves, like it or not. That should answer your question.
So in other words, if I don't get 11
owners,
if I don't get 11 if I don't get 11 owners, what I want to say is, can they stop us from doing can 11 people stop us from doing a fully funded reserve?
11 people can stop you from doing a fully funded reserve. That's correct. But if they
That's what I
don't
wanna
get,
know.
if they don't get 11, there shall be fully funded reserves.
And when the budget goes out, is it in red?
The budget goes
Big
out. It's got to
letters?
show fully funded reserves.
Yes.
It's got to be clear how much the budget will be, what the reserves are being used for, and they also have to show the reserve schedule. In other words, the roof. How many years left? What's it going to cost to replace? How much is that going to be for unit owners per year? It's got to be broken down. Roof, pavement, and painting. Okay?
But it's going to be clear on that document that they can opt out of that reserve.
They don't have to. They do not have to give the owners the opportunity to opt out. The only requirement there...
That was my question.
The only requirement they must do is send the budget out with fully funded reserves.
So how do they object to it then?
If they want to give the owners the opportunity to object, they can. The only thing they're required to do is send it out with fully funded reserves.
So those owners on their own would have to go, wait a minute.
Yes. Okay? It's complicated.
All right, thank you.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
I thought they used to send it out with the big
no,
red letters and you want to opt out.
Nope. Well, there is language that has to go on the limited proxy that gives the people a warning about opting out, that if they opt out, it can result in special assessments. Okay? And that still must be required on the limited proxy.
Okay.
Okay? And we all know that now, right? If you're going to opt out of reserves,
You're screwed.
decade after decade, it's going to result in
So there's
special
no
assessments.
big red letters that says you can opt out of this. Okay.
No, not that you can opt out, but if you do opt out, okay, if
Well,
they
you
give
just
you the
told
chance
everybody.
to opt out, if you do opt out on that form, it's got to warn the hell out of them
Right.
that if you do opt out, it's going to result in special assessments, which everybody's learning now.
There's some funny stuff on here, by the way. There's someone says AOL charges a lot of money for getting your emails back and no guarantee of retrieving your emails.
Well, what can I tell you? Then the association may wind up having to pay for it because now they got to make a reasonable effort to go out and get those documents that they're required to have on hand. So if they can get them, they have to get them. Okay? Big new changes, everybody. So you're going to have to keep watching week after week to find out what your new responsibilities are.
It's so confusing.
Big changes. A
I have
lot
a
to
headache.
know. A lot to know. Sign up for the class. You sign up for the class by going to condocrazeandhoas.com. We are all over the place. No freaking excuse. It was a great first show to start the year. Had a lot of fun today.
Me too.
And it's really an honor and a pleasure for all of us to be with you every Sunday. Every time the phone rings, I mean it. I get a little pitter-patter. I love it.
We do too. I love it.
I'm just honored to answer your calls. It's great to spend an hour each Sunday with you. And we'll do the same next week, next Sunday at 11 a.m. on Condo Craze and HOAs. Everybody have a wonderful, safe week. Glad to be back.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Robert.